I am going to record the webinar, so if you love this webinar and others would like to get it afterwards, it'll be available in our store. If somebody you know that was registered had to miss it, we can send them a copy as well. Of course, they've already paid, so we'll just send them the copy. And I want you to know that's always available with our webinars. If you register and for some reason you have to miss, we do have a backup that we can give you. So I'm really excited that you are here. It's always a little awkward for me just talking to a computer screen, but I know you're out there, and that's what gets me really excited. Let's see, we've really just started this awesome new year. And before I get into the PowerPoint, I really just want to challenge you that, for the time that you're investing here on this call today, that you will take notes and take 3 action steps that you get from today's webinar and commit to apply them to your business in the next 7 to 10 days. I go to a lot of trainings, I conduct a lot of trainings, as you know, and one of the things I've learned is that if you don't apply the information and the knowledge, it really is a waste of time. And I know how busy you guys are, so that's my real request to you. I want you to walk away from this better, more empowered with action steps and tools. If you just joined us, we did send out a PowerPoint this morning to follow along with for the webinar. If for any reason you did not get that, that probably means there is an error or something with your email in our system. Just email Karen@tracibild.com, Karen. If you have any questions that you would like me to address during the webinar today, you can email me those directly to tbild@tracibild.com, and I'll address probably most of the questions at the end of the webinar to make sure that I can stay focused on the training. However, if I get little breaks in here, I will try to look down and check those. So first of all, thanks for joining. I'm excited. Many of you have been participating in the series that we've done, and so this is, I believe, number 3 of 4. And it's really actually 2. We did the initial referral outreach. It wasn't part of this series, but a lot of you were on that. Then we went in, and the last webinar, we addressed the inquiry process and how to convert 60 to 75%, which is a real benchmark of all inquiries to tour. My question to you is, if you were on that webinar, what did you do after the webinar in regards to the inquiry process that was different than what you were doing prior to that webinar? Again, applying the information you've learned. That's how you bring transformation and results. So think about that. And then today, what we're going to do is build on the last webinar. And if you weren't on it, it's okay. You're going to walk away with concrete action steps today, even without that last webinar. However, if you were on it, we're going to build on that. And I'm going to show you how once you get them in the door, which is the #1 most important skill factor proven to drive occupancy, then how do you shorten the sales cycle and get people to deposit faster and move sooner? So that's the topic of today. It's the visit experience, and I'm going to show you how to transform an ordinary tour into a true experience that will be unforgettable. And one of the things we want to immediately get away from is the word tour. If in your mind you're giving tours, then that is all they will be. And if we were to interview people in like an exit survey as they left your tour, what we'd probably find is that there was really nothing memorable. They probably weren't blown away. And then in like a day or two, they'd probably be a little bit confused and not really able to differentiate who was who. And don't take offense to that. That's just what our research has shown. So what we want to do is make you stand out and make you the celebrity community in your local market. And with a little work, and actually a lot of work, and focus and discipline, you can make that happen and eliminate the impact that the competition is having on your market share right now. Now, I have a lot of content that's in the PowerPoint, but I want to just set the stage. As you know, I work with a lot of owner operators, CEOs, investors, and one of the things that I've absolutely seen occur is we've gone from, in our industry, where sales was a bad word and nobody wanted anything to do with sales training, to where in the last 2 years their bottom line has been so affected by the devastation from our economic meltdown that it's hit the bottom line. And in the last 2 years, particularly in the last year, in 2009, people really started waking up and realizing that mediocre sales performance was not acceptable. And that even hitting budget, which for many people is what they seek, but we all want zero lost revenue days, even hitting budget was getting more and more difficult. Now, as we've entered 2010, I've seen another shift, and I'm just going to make you aware of what this is. And what I've seen is a sheer panic with many, many owner-operators, investors. And now they're to the point that they are basically willing to make staff changes and let people go that have been with the communities upwards of 10 years, 12 years, 20 years. They really value the employee. They love the longevity, but they cannot continue to accept poor performance. So if you're on this webinar, you know, whatever your position, ED, regional, owner-operator, marketing director, you're here for a reason. And I believe it's because you're hungry, you want change, you want to do the best at your job. And I'm telling you, that means job security. You fill your building and you'll have a job forever and you'll maximize your bonus potential. Everybody wants what they can't have, right? In our local communities, particularly if they can't get in and there's a wait list, everybody wants it, making your job even easier. Investors are happy, owners are happy, everybody wins. So let's talk about today that difficult task of actually getting the deposit and the move-in. However, what worked yesterday doesn't work today. We cannot tour somebody and expect them to deposit. It's just, I would say it might happen 1% of the time. So we're going to talk today about the visit experience and building on the standard tour. Just to give you again a reminder of what the benchmarks for the industry are, the average benchmark for visit to move-in conversion for assisted living properties is 22%, meaning 22% of people who tour your community are then moving in. Our benchmark for this is 50% for AL and IL and 35% for a CCRC. And we have aggressive goals, but the great thing is if you raise the bar and you provide people with the tools to get there, train them, not just expect them to do it, they will rise to the occasion. And I just cannot stress that enough to those of you that are in a leadership role. We have to keep the bar high, not just what we need. And then as you can see, the independent living benchmark in our industry, the average is 20% convert to move in. Our benchmark is actually 50. I have 40, but we just push our students to 50. And the CCRC is 12%. This is kind of contradicting, I apologize, what I just said to you. Because of the market, we've modified our goals to take the pressure off a little bit. So whereas I say our benchmark is 25% for our CCRC, when we are actually coaching one-on-one our buildings, we're trying to get them to a 35%. But because a lot of you are not in our coaching program and don't have additional support, I don't want you to feel like, oh my gosh, that's a really high benchmark. You know, we have a CCRC and we're only at a 12% visit to move-in conversion. How does she expect me to get to 35%? So I modified these numbers. As you can see, they're still double industry average. But if you want to be the cream of the crop, the very best at what you do, I'm going to ask you to raise that CCRC to 35% benchmark and raise the IL to 50, okay? And I know you can do it. Our student average across all product types is 56%, and that's a combination of all of these. And that shows you that, you know, these systems that I'm about to share with you absolutely are working, and that's an average of about 200 buildings all across the country that are utilizing the very systems you're about to learn. So the visit, setting the stage. We know people look at 4 properties on average before they make a move. That's from 07. I've not seen any more current data on this. I personally believe this number is going to increase. Back in like 06, they looked at 2.3 communities, then it went up to 4. What I believe we're going to see in 2010 is them looking at more like 5 to 6 properties before they make a decision. And that's because they have a lot more options to them. Available to them. So not only are they going to be looking at more properties, the other thing I want you to be aware of is that the #1 fastest growing franchise right now is home health care. And we know that more and more seniors are wanting to stay in their home. So you're going to start to see more and more the impact of the home health care franchise. So you really want to think about this and prepare your organization now, prepare yourself now how to compete against these very real competitive threats. Now, what are you doing to be memorable? You guys know that I just tell it like it is. And I will tell you, rarely, if ever, do I go into a building and mystery shop it and actually have an experience that just is totally memorable and makes me go, wow. Now, I go see amazing properties. I just saw one last week. I mean, things that are so impressive. You think, oh, I'd love to live here. But it's something that a day or two later, I don't even remember anything about the visit itself. And in the visit, there's nothing that really just brought tears to my eyes or made me go, gosh, this place is amazing, because of the emotional connection or experience. And that's what we are looking for from you. Then the on-site shop reviews, I have to say, one exercise I would like for you to do, this is one of your to-dos. If you've not done competitive mystery shops or an on-site shop in a year or more, I would like to challenge you to go out and shop 3 competitors yourself and see what's happening. And what you'll see is pretty much everybody does the same thing. They give a tour. It's not real personable. They show you everything. There's really no needs identification. There's not a lot that they're asking about you. It's just a show and tell. And then when the tour's over, they typically will say something like, well, let me know when you're ready. And I know if you're watching this, you don't believe me on this. You're thinking, not me, not me, not my company. That's why I want you to go out and experience this for yourself. It's an epidemic. I've done a couple tours in the last month that I will tell you the sales rep that took me around did not learn anything at all about my scenario. It was all about them, maybe one question, and then it was all about them and the community. And I'm going to tell you, that's not the way we want to showcase our senior housing community. So another thing I want you to think about as we go through today's presentation is that every single lead is a hot lead. So unless you have that rare mystery shopper like I was, those people walking through your door are hot leads. Stop trying to pre-qualify and prejudge if they're going to be someone that closes. We don't know. There's no way we could know unless you have a crystal ball and then I want to buy it. So what I want you to do is do what's right. Give everybody 5-star service. Assume this is the only on-site visit that you have scheduled this month. Pre-plan it. Build in residents proactively. Talk to your staff. Let them know this person is coming. And really challenge yourself to create a tour experience. Because if you do that and you make them feel like the star of the show, you have a considerably much, much, much better chance of getting a deposit and a move-in. Now, the move-in isn't obviously going to happen that day, but you literally can cut your move-in timeline in half with the right strategy. Now, when I say every lead's a hot lead, honestly, why else would they be there? Who wakes up and says, oh, I'm going to go out and look at an independent living property today, or a CCRC, or I feel like looking into assisted living? There's always something driving that visit. And even if you are a CCRC or independent living, we can no longer kid ourselves and say that it's not healthcare related and that it's only emotionally driven. If it is emotionally driven, then why aren't people tapping into emotions? And secondly, our average person coming in is easily in their late 70s and more than likely 81, 82. So what that means is they have some kind of a health situation that's presented itself, or something's happening with their friends. They've had something that's occurred that has driven them to you, but they're not going to be forthcoming about it right off the bat. For you to understand what that is, you're going to have to build trust and connect. And that is the art of selling and the most difficult part that we have to really help people understand how to do, because whereas you might think it comes natural, I'm telling you, it doesn't, or more people in our industry would be doing this. So my question is, what are you doing to earn their business? So if you had a tour already today, what did you do that if I was sitting there next to you and I said, let's review that visit experience? what was it like for the prospect and the family members? And if they were really scared today when they came in and uncomfortable, what did you do to set their mind at ease? And on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the highest, how would you honestly, if I were to go ask them right now, what do you think they would say their experience was like? Was it a 3, a 5? Was it a 10? And be honest with yourself, because this is the only way you will grow, is to look within and be open and receptive to change. And also just saying, hey, you can't do better till you know better. I just hadn't thought about it. So you're in a competitive business environment. You must stand out. And then the other competitor you have, as we talked about with the home health, is their home. Not only did people not want to move before, now people are using the real estate market as an excuse, although it's recovering. They don't always want to just necessarily right off the bat put their home on the market. We have to make the value so strong that they're willing to accept the pain of maybe taking 30% less on their home. So I sent you today's agenda, and on the PowerPoint it's slide number 6. I'm not going to go through all of this because we need to just get into it so you can see what we're covering today. Let's go right to the first topic. So this is just something when I and my staff are doing on-site visits and mystery shops, and it's been very, very interesting for us. In the last 4 months, we started doing on-site visits with our client base, whereas before, you know, I really didn't want to do that travel, and some of our other coaches didn't want to travel. We have families, we're gone enough. We have a couple on-site specialists who are going into our client sites to really make sure that the systems that we are teaching are being implemented firsthand. We're walking in with a customer's eyes, and we're getting our hands dirty, rolling up our sleeves, and really seeing what's happening. And I have to say, it has been an incredible learning experience. It has transformed the future of our training, and what we're finding is so much work needs done on site. It's exciting because it's all, you know, things we can work on and improve, but there is nothing more valuable than another set of eyes, and that's why I always encourage you guys to have friends mystery shop your building or hire someone to do it and really see what other people are seeing. Not just you, because you're there every day. So this first 3 minutes of the tour I built into this PowerPoint because we have seen that when we're going on site, there really is nothing that's standing out or impressive about it when they walk in. Now, when your prospect's coming, keep in mind they're guarded, they're nervous and scared, they're emotional, they're guilt-ridden if they're an adult child. It's our job to disarm them and put their minds at ease. So a few things to make the first 3 minutes of your visit unforgettable. Number 1, we want to wow people. If you've not yet read Donna Cutting's The Celebrity Experience, please get it. It is incredible, and it has senior housing specific information in regards to what I'm about to share with you. But I would like you to think about, if you could wow your guest, what could you do? And a few examples are, what if when they came to visit you, instead of them finding a parking spot and parking and they really don't know where they are, what if you obviously let them know how to get in, and then when they came, that you let them know there's going to be a personalized parking space for them, or you just surprised them, and as they came in, there was a parking space with Janet Smith. And we have a number of our coaching students that are doing this now, and it's absolutely phenomenal. And it transforms the way that your community is received by the prospect. It's a very small thing, and you can actually purchase signs from sign stores where you just drop in the person's name whenever the new tour is coming. So it's kind of like slides apart. You put the name of the visitor in, and you just change it out with each visitor that's coming. And then one of the things you'll find is if they have a camera with them, they'll get out, they'll take a picture of themselves next to their welcome sign. They're not just feeling welcome, they're feeling expected, and they're completely shocked because if they've gone to the other 3 or 4 competitors, guaranteeing you that did not happen. So the other thing you could do is have valet park them. So you could say, when you come, please go to valet. And then you want to make sure the valet knows they're coming, pronounces their name correctly. And then you train them to say, oh, it's 2 o'clock. You must be the Smiths. And it makes people feel important. And we need to make them feel important because that's going to create more trust, greater buy-in, disarm, and engage them. The other thing is your receptionists need to be trained. When the prospect or family members come in, they need to have some kind of a schedule where they know who's coming when, and you as a marketer may call and say, hey, the Smiths are coming in 5 minutes, please keep an eye out. It'll be, her and her husband. So then she knows to say, come out from behind her desk. Oh, hi, you must be the Smiths. Yes, we are. We are so glad you're here. Traci's been expecting you. Can I get you a drink while I call her up front? Or can I walk you to her office and grab you a drink along the way? Drinks naturally disarm people. We all relax when we go to someone's home or into an uncomfortable environment and somebody gives us a drink. And I have to tell you, I went to a furniture store with my mother just a few days ago, and I hate furniture shopping. It's kind of like car shopping. I know I'm going to be attacked by a salesperson, and as soon as we walked in the door, I said, oh, I hate going to these places. I'm going to be attacked. And my mom said, oh, it's okay. And I couldn't believe it. They let us walk in, and we walked around for like a minute, and then she came up and said, hi, can I get you a cold drink? A water, a soda? And I swear, I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. It completely disarmed me, and I said, oh, I would love one. I'll have a water, because quite honestly, I was dying of thirst, and I was actually thinking I need to get a bottle of water. And then my mom ordered a Coke, and she took them out of a cooler, and it just transformed our experience. All of a sudden, instead of being guarded and armed, I was thinking, wow, well, let's look around a little bit. And then my mom said, well, let's go upstairs. We don't want to leave. She was so nice. She gave us a drink. And, we might have stayed longer and then found more things. So it extended the length of stay for us as prospects in a furniture store. So think about that. And the other thing I want you to do is look at where you're holding your initial sit down. So when, say, the receptionist walks her to you, or you come up and get your prospect, I'd like to challenge you to find a warmer environment to hold your pre-tour conversations. So I highly recommend your model if your model is nice. That means it smells good, it looks good, it has color, it's modern, it has music. You walk in and you just want to stay a little while. You have to have a very strong model. And I would highly recommend you this week as one of your action steps, trying to shift from doing your pre-visit tours in your office to in the model. It's okay if you even have to go upstairs. Just say, I'm going to take you upstairs and we can relax. We have cookies and things in the model. Stock your refrigerators full of all kinds of yummy drinks and things that would make them go, oh, wow, you have Mr. Pibb. Think about it. What do they want? And stock it in there. You can also have coffee brewing, which creates a nice smell. Think about the details. And you will find that your prospect, once again, will open up more. It's all about psychology. When you're in your office, there's lots of papers. It's threatening. You feel like you're going to be sold. If you don't have a great model, number one, you need to talk with your executive director about getting that model spruced up immediately. Doesn't mean a lot of money. It can be from thrift stores and so on. People can donate things. Or maybe you have another area, a nice private dining room that your families use. Get out of the office. I cannot advise you enough on that. And some of you have gone to hotels before where they have a wow as soon as you walk in. They might have chocolate chip cookies that have been freshly baked, and when you come in, you get them. It's totally different than what you experience at most hotels, which in turn makes it stand out. I went to a hotel in a very, very small town. I don't even remember where it was, and I remember I had not been there for about 5 years. I didn't remember the place when I walked in, but as soon as I checked in, I started smelling the cookies, and I went, no way. You have the cookies. And they said, oh yeah. I said, I was here. I've been here before. I'll never forget those cookies. And again, it transformed the initial experience. We were laughing, we were talking. So what can you do to take the first 2 minutes to 3 minutes of a visitor's experience with your community and transform it to disarm, engage, create an experience that makes your prospect and their family members feel welcome and expected? That is another challenge, and I don't want you to wait a month. this needs to happen in the next 7 to 10 days, or I'll just be the first to tell you, you won't do it. And I would challenge you to do 3 wows. It could be the valet and then the receptionist coming out, greeting them from behind, coming out from behind the desk, using their name, and then walking into the office, offering them a drink. You might have a board up front where you put their name on the board, welcome. It could be a touchdown and you program their name and maybe something you learned. They have a Maltese dog and you have a picture of a Maltese dog on there. There's many, many different things that you can do. Now, the other thing I want to introduce you to is what's called shopper state of mind. Now, if you're a coaching student and you're on watching this, we probably have not taught this to you yet. I always like to pull different things out of my bag of tricks for the webinar and make sure I'm keeping your training fresh. And we really do have so much training that we have to determine what you need specifically to drive your occupancy. And this is one of those extra techniques. So I want to throw it out there to you since we're talking about the visit experience. So when your prospect comes in and they are, through the door. Now, if you implement the first wow kind of piece that I talked about, this is going to be even easier. If you're not doing that, try this on your next visit appointment today. It's 3 steps, and all you're going to do is you want to disarm them, engage them in conversation so they open up to you, and put them in what we call a shopper's state of mind. Literally picture them sitting there with their checkbook ready to write a check. And this is a small technique that you don't even have to understand, but psychologically it has a major impact on your tour. So the first thing is you're going to ask a yes or no, and I don't teach a lot of yes or no questions, and you're not going to get any no's because they're there visiting you. But we want to get a yes out of them first thing. So you're walking them to the private dining room to sit down with them for a few minutes, and you might say, I have a question, Mrs. Smith. Is finding a community that your mom will be really excited about? Not just, yeah, I'm going to move, but really excited to make a move to. Is that important to you? Okay, so yeah, that's a no-brainer, of course. Okay, but we need to get them from wherever they are in their mind. Oh, I'm so scared. Did you see those old people in their wheelchairs? Oh my gosh, that guy was asleep on the couch. Because these are the things they're thinking. They're terrified to hear with you. So ask a question in your own style that feels good to you. So can I ask, is finding a community that's a perfect fit for the lifestyle your mom's been living, the kind of, things she enjoys doing, the people she likes to be around, is finding a community that's really in line with her current lifestyle? Is that important to you? So your own words, and what we want them to do is say, well, yes. Okay, so we've got a yes. Then we're going to say, okay, well, being that you know your mom better than I do, or let's say mom's sitting there, it's her, it's independent living. Well, being that I just met you, can you share with me a little bit about what a community might look and feel or be like that would really get your mom excited to make a move and actually make this process easier for you, because I know this is not easy. So now what we're wanting them to do is describe for us what that vision of a perfect community looks like for her or him, because it's not about us. What's important is what they think, what they want. And as sales directors, or in managing sales directors, what I cannot stress is enough is we have to get the sales directors to slow down and start listening and learning and asking lots of questions. So when I say, Jack, is finding a community that your mom is really excited to make a move to, not just, okay, I'll move because my home's too much, but really would be looking forward to making a move to, is that important to you? Well, of course. That's why I'm here. Well, I thought so, but I just want to make sure. And can I ask, since you're with her, every day, and I haven't had the privilege to meet her yet, can you share with me what that community might look, feel like, what things it might have available that would get her excited? And then he might say, Oh, geez, my mom. She is extremely active. I can't get her to sit still. She is always out to dinner with friends. She loves high tea. She actually goes to movies all the time. And if no one will go with her, she goes by herself. So, I mean, really what we're looking for is something that doesn't feel like, what's the word, like a medical facility, but a home, but where she can get the help she needs because, I mean, I've been taking care of her yard and doing her maintenance, and I just don't have the time to do it. Okay. Anything else that you think, in considering your mom and her history and her friends and her faith and all of that, anything else that would create the ideal environment for her? Oh, well, yeah, you mentioned faith. I mean, we're Catholic, and she's very serious. She does Mass every day, and she's very, very active. She does a lot of volunteer work in our church. Oh, wonderful. Can I ask where she goes? So do you see what I'm doing? So then if he says anything else, I'm going to pull out whatever I can. So sales directors, don't rush this. Don't be thinking about the sale and the close. If you do what's right and you dig down and you really drill and you get the details, don't worry, you're going to close them. It's when you worry about closing them and you're thinking about the sale that you start to struggle. Get into the people. That's what will make you love your job again. Then, so the second step is to say, could you share a little bit about that? Or could you tell me a little bit about what that would look like? So that's your second part of Shopper State of Mind. They're telling us basically how to sell them. Then the third step is you're going to kind of outline what you're going to do today on the visit. So you're going to say, so my role today, based on everything you've just shared with me and from our initial conversation, is to really just let you experience our community firsthand. And what I hear is really, really important to you is that your mom's very active. She loves to go out to eat, to, spend time with friends, to go to the movies. And you specifically said she loves romance, which there's many of us that do. And also it's really, really important that she continue her daily Mass and be involved with her church. So what I'd like to do is take you through our community and introduce you to a couple of residents that I already kind of had in mind that are very similar to your mom. And actually, there's someone I want you to meet that does Mass every day because your mom would probably be actively involved with this person. And our movie buff who plans all of our movies here. We're going to knock on his door because I didn't hear that on the phone. And I would love just to make the introduction. And the goal of today is really just for you to kind of walk through our community, meet our staff, meet our residents. This is their home. And get a feel for whether you think this kind of environment would be a place where your mother would thrive. And do you have any questions before we get started? So what you want to happen is use adjectives and descriptive words that tie into what they've just told you. There's a quote. It says, if you speak someone's language, they'll follow you to the death. And we want to listen so well that we can repeat back some of their key phrases and words to demonstrate we've listened and then get them excited about the solution. So as you're recapping and maybe doing examples, take your time on that because you want that kind of barometer growing. We're like, yeah. I want to go. Let's get out of here. I want to see this place. That's where we want them. And yes, you know what? We can be excited about this, you guys. Your passion is what sells people. So if you're lacking passion and you're burnt out, you're not going to be as successful. Fall in love with your job again. And if you're not in love with your job, maybe look for another job. Or get excited about educating and training and reading books and get back in touch with your residents and remember why you got into this business in the first place because you know what? You're going to have a lot more fun and be a lot more successful. Now, if you combine the initial wow experience of first impression and then you do your experience initially in the model or in the dining room somewhere private yet very nice and luxurious or homey, and then you start your conversation with Shopper State of Mind, now they are disarmed, engaged, interested, excited, and ready to go on this tour. And in your mind, you should have them at hello. And if you don't feel like you do, I would not start the tour without asking more questions. Drill down and be honest. I get the sense, Mrs. Smith, that you're feeling uncomfortable. And I'm sorry, but are you uncomfortable? I would rather you be honest and address what you're feeling, because you are an expert. You do this every day, and it's not going to do any good to take her on a tour if she is not comfortable. Address it. Hit it head on. Don't be afraid of emotion. She may say, well, I'm sorry, but like you had 3 people sleeping in the lobby. So that may be, oh, okay, sorry, you're right. Well, our van's on the way, and we're doing doctor's appointments today, and some of those people come down early and they wait and they fall asleep. But you know what? I mean, in 5 years, you might fall asleep on the couch, and we're going to let you do that because this is your home. So you tie it back in. Now, connecting the dots. Let's move on to slide number 11. And again, if you don't have your PowerPoint, you can get it by emailing Karen@tracibild.com. She did email them out, but sometimes things go into junk mail folders and so on. So how do you connect the dots from the information learned on the initial inquiry call into the visit experience itself? So remember, on our last webinar, we talked about the visit experience and the inquiry call and the inquiry connection sheets and drilling down, finding needs, building value. And what I find is that a lot of people will do an excellent job of going through the inquiry connection sheet and asking anywhere from 10 to 15 great open-ended questions, really getting the details, understanding, everything going on. And then what happens is they kind of file that away and they don't use it. And they're excited because they really learned a lot and they scheduled the visit. But really what you want is the move-in. So we want to connect the dots from what you learned on the inquiry call to what's occurring on the visit itself. So if you're already doing the connection sheets, ask yourself, so on my visits yesterday and today that I've had so far, what did I learn on the initial call and how did I apply it to the visit? Or am I guilty of not applying it? Again, guys, this is layering of information. You're not going to be a pro overnight. It's really a game of inches. And this is taking you to the next level. And nothing I'm teaching you is rocket science new. This is common sense, simple sales systems. The thing is, we've packaged it in a way that it's measurable and that drives results. So, now it's a matter of paying attention and making sure your systems are fully operating. So did you extract 1 to 3 needs from the inquiry connection sheet that you learned? And did you actually pre-plan your visit? Or did you just think, well, I got the information and I'll tie it in on the tour? What we want you to do is actually pre-plan and strategize the visit itself. And when you do that, it's night and day. Where there's preparation, there's always more success. Not just bumping into a resident in the hallway, but actually thinking, this gentleman, he was a retired railroad engineer, and we have, Jack collects trains. I bet they'd be a great fit. So now you call Jack, hey, I've got a great prospect coming in. We'd love to have him join us as a resident. He's amazing, and this is what he does. I thought you would be a great ambassador for him to meet of our community. It's flattering to the resident. They want to help, and now he's going to have a connection. Maybe they have a cup of coffee together. So if you pre-plan that, it's going to be more successful. You might find that their number 1 need is medication management. So you call your nurse, you let her know you've got someone coming in at 2 o'clock. This is a core need. Could you spend just a couple minutes going over preventative medication suspension and what you're going to do to prevent error? So you want to really tap into the 3 highest needs and build in something to the tour to go, wow, we listened and I can meet your needs. Excuse me. So we want to apply what was learned to the visit, and then by doing that, it also ensures that you stay focused on what the prospect wants, not what you have. And I know that's very hard because you love your communities, you're so committed, but to get people to buy, it has to be about them. And this is just not happening in our industry. And many of our marketers have been in their jobs for 15, 20 years, and they just, unfortunately, are selling like they did 10 years ago. And you guys are seeing it in your numbers. Get excited and bring some radical change. I'm not asking you to be a salesperson. I'm asking you to learn relationship building tactics and strategies. And I know everything I've taught you so far is all about the relationship, and it's got to feel good with you and in your gut that it's the right thing to do. Now, the number one asset that you have is your residents and, of course, your staff. And I'd like to see you utilizing them more. I'm on slide number 12. To create a visit experience unlike anything else in our industry. When we do on-site mystery shops and when we go on site to troubleshoot our buildings, one of the things we immediately can assess is if there's collaboration among the staff. And unfortunately, more often than not, there is not. Yet in the buildings that are full or at 98%, the collaboration is there. It's just bottom line, clear as day, that to get to zero lost revenue days, you have to have a strong collaborative environment. So as an administrator or a leader of your organization, whatever you have to do, whether it's hold a retreat and do some team building skills or something in your community, you get them all a book, I don't care, but work on exercises to unite your team towards a common purpose of filling your building and educate them and train them on why is that important. When I do my seminars, we actually now have all the department heads there, of course the sales team, corporate, then we have, in many of my seminars, we have the nurses, the med techs, the front desk, because all of these people need to understand their role in filling the building. And so, number one, I want to say, how do you engage your residents? Well, to engage them, you have to know them. And when we start working with buildings on engaging residents in the tour experience, one of the first things comes out is that, well, I don't really know my residents that well. I don't know who does what, went where, what their hobbies are. So maybe set a goal that once a week you interview a resident. And maybe you do a little about Janet Jones, and you feature her somehow in a scrapbook page or in a newsletter. Start getting to know the interesting things about your residents, and those are great press releases as well, if they let you. And then utilize the strengths of your staff. Train them what you expect them to do, and they will rise to meet your level of expectation. If you don't speak up and ask them to engage and introduce themselves on tours and to be a part of these things, they're probably not going to do it. So you want to coordinate key introductions prior to the visit, not use that same 1 to 2 residents for everything. You've got a lot of amazing people with great stories, and we're going to talk about storytelling in just a little bit. And then incentivize your staff to shine and to engage and help facilitate a successful visit experience. I absolutely have seen a direct correlation with our clients that we work with, many of them for 3 to 5 years, when you incentivize your staff with either just a small bonus. It might be for every month we hit 100%, you get a $25 bonus. Hey, you know what? It might be $25 a week. It might be $25 a month, but everybody on the staff gets it. It could be gift cards. Everybody gets a $15 gift card to Target for each week that we convert 50% of our visits into tours and, or move-ins. Think about it, but what I'm telling you is incentives work. And just bottom line, recognizing people and acknowledging their effort works really well. And then think about creating a resident ambassador committee that can help you. So on nights and weekends, if you're not there, can you have 5 resident ambassadors that are really outgoing? And obviously with memory care, this isn't going to work, but that could conduct tours when needed. And you know, maybe they also help you with your follow-up. Like if you got someone you want to invite back to an event, utilize your resident ambassadors to make the phone call or send an email and invite them to come to the event with them. That's going to be much better received than you as the salesperson inviting them to, you know, the Valentine's Day gala. If the resident they met invites them, they're going to be much more likely to come. So think about, you know, how you can utilize your residents. And another great way is a retour. So you might say, you know, Gina, I know you were here for the tour last week, but I would love to have you come back in now that you've been here and you know who we are, and just let one of our residents walk you through the building from their perspective. Ask them as many questions as you want, and just kind of come in with no pressure and really get a feel for what it's like to live here. So that would also drive your retours by engaging residents. And I'm telling you, you have residents who would love, love, love to do this because it makes them feel useful, valuable. They want to volunteer. We're just not utilizing them. Now, the other tool that should have been sent out with your PowerPoint, and if it wasn't for any reason, Karen will resend it, is the visit planning sheet. So it's just a sheet like this. And you're going to want to color copy it on a blue paper. And after you book your visit with your inquiry connection sheet, the first thing you want to do after you hang up the phone is this visit planning sheet. It will literally take you 3 minutes. Is it worth 3 minutes of your time and focus if it means driving your visit to move-in to double what it is right now if you're at industry average? And all this is going to do is help you to brainstorm on paper really quickly what you can do to transform the tour into a true experience. You know, what are the prospects' top 7 needs? We found finding 3 needs wasn't enough. We have to really understand what's driving them to your community to shorten the sales cycle. So if you only come up with 3, then you know on that visit you have got to drill down and find more needs, because there's more, they're just hiding them. You have to draw them out. And then what specific action steps can you take to demonstrate you can deliver on the needs identified, whether it's meds or activities or transportation? What one extra might you do to make impact and improve the odds of closing on the next step by 70%? The one extra we've talked about in the past is a gift that's tied to the details of a conversation. If we find out they have a dog they're passionate about named Miffy, you know, when they come, we might have a little dog bowl with treats and say, hey, I noticed you didn't bring your dog. You could have, because he's welcome. That's going to improve the odds of your prospect committing to the next step by 70%. It's based on the law of reciprocation. What residents might make impact and how might you engage them? What staff members could make impact? And then it questions you, number 6, do you have a real wow factor? At some point during this visit, is that prospect or family member going to say to themselves, wow, this place is amazing? And you know what? If they've been other places, that's going to work to your advantage, because they're going to realize you are the cream of the crop. You are working for their business. You want them there. You've taken the time to prepare. So you want to utilize this visit planning sheet on every preset tour. If you run an organization, I'm telling you, if your people are telling you they're doing this stuff, I guarantee you they are not. Shop them. The proof is in the evidence itself. You do a shop, make sure your shopper has detailed notes, and then evaluate and find out if these things are happening. Do not take it for granted that they are. I'm telling you firsthand, this stuff's not happening. It takes us months of working with buildings and individuals to change their habits and help them understand the importance of this piece. It's absolutely incredible, but the pre-planning is not happening. So in the visit, and I'm going to jump forward a couple slides due to time, and I'm going to go to slide number 19, storytelling. I want you to think about your storytelling ability. Now, this may not be for everybody, but I know we have a lot of very creative people in the sales department. So it's proven that people will only remember 25% of the facts that you give them, yet they'll remember 75% of all the stories you tell them. So I want you to think about your tour route today when you're on it, which really should change depending on who you're taking around. But instead of telling them all about the dining room and showing them the menu, which is what's happened to me on every visit I've ever gone on, I would like you to tell a story about the dining room. So you might say, well, clearly, you know, this is our dining room. You know what, let me tell you, we probably have 10 special events that happen here in our dining room every month. You know, like just last weekend, Rose, who's one of our residents, she's been here, geez, probably 6 years. She had her 93rd birthday party. And I had stopped in because it was on a Saturday, and I wanted to just kind of check on a few things in my office. And I'm telling you, there were at least 150 people in here laughing. They were doing a slideshow of Rose's 95 years. I actually ended up sitting down and watching it, and I admit I was crying. It was so emotional, the amount of love that surrounded Rose. And I mean, they had a 5-layer cake, and our chef prepared her favorite meal, which was just a pot roast. She just loves down-home cooking, and I'll tell you, Rose has talked about that dinner and that memory every single day. Every time I've seen her, 2 to 3 times a day, I talk to her about this when I see her, because it really was transforming. And that's the kind of things we do in here. Clearly, we eat our dinners, and you know, I'll give you a menu here to see. You know, we have custom ordering, we have 5-star dining. with great menu options. But really, this again is your home. And should it be your birthday or a wedding anniversary or a granddaughter's graduation, this will be available to you as well. So by telling the story, that person's going to be more likely to remember the dining room and what's unique and great about it compared to your competitor saying, and here's our dining room, because everybody has a nice menu and meal choices and 3 meals a day. So what's so great about you? Well, if you incorporate storytelling, you're going to be more likely to be memorable. Same thing if you're talking about your exercise room. Don't just say, we have cardio, we have Tai Chi, which is what I always hear. That's why we're trying to transform. Talk about, we had a resident actually that moved in that unfortunately was having some falls and things, and we started working with her on balance coordination, and she started taking our yoga and our Tai Chi classes, and she was not really happy about it in the beginning, but she agreed she would give it a shot for 30 days, and we were all working together to help her get her balance back because it's very important to her health and her safety, and she understood that. I will tell you, she now leads one of our Tai Chi classes every Monday, and she's gone from someone who really didn't want to do any kind of exercise to probably our greatest advocate to our residents for why Tai Chi is so important to balance, coordination, health, and longevity, as well as yoga. And we have grown our Tai Chi and yoga groups by 50% just since she started participating in our classes. And your mother may feel the same way. She may not want to utilize this aspect of our community at all, but based on the things you talked to me about, we may be able to talk to her about some things that she's just unaware of and may want to enjoy. So depending on what happened in the conversation, guys, that will help dictate your story. You also have to learn again about your residents and your staff better so you can tell better stories. So I want you to think about replacing selling facts with stories and telling 2 to 3 stories throughout your tour experience to increase the odds of being memorable and to create emotion and to help people understand a home is filled with memories, not facts, figures, statistics, 3 meals a day, housekeeping once a week, transportation to and from the doctor. That's not a home. A home is about stories, memories, laughter, and people, and that's what we've got to get back. Now, pre-closing on slide number 20, how to pre-close during the tour. So if you are utilizing the visit planning sheet, your entire tour is mapped out. You've got residents and staff planned into the visit. You may have a 1 extra, which is a gift that you present at some point. You're doing your storytelling. And again, this is not going to happen tomorrow. This is going to happen over time. And if you are in charge of a team, you are going to have to coach and help them to implement this information because it's going to be out of people's comfort zones. Once they do it, they'll love it, but no one likes change. So now as you're going through the tour, as you're kind of going towards the end, what I'd like to see you doing is starting to do some recapping of conversation to verify that what you're hearing and what they're saying are the same, because we know men are from Mars, women are from Venus. We don't all speak the same language. So recap as you walk through the area. So let's say you're in that, you're in the rehab area of your community. Maybe you have a rehab room and you say, so one of the reasons, again, I wanted to show you the rehab therapy room is because, I know that your mom has had hip replacement surgery in the last year, and, the weather is causing her a lot of discomfort right now. And one of the things that I really think would be important for your mother is to come down to rehab, a couple times a week and work with Jack, our therapist, to kind of work out some of the stiffness, to work with her and do everything we can to make her more comfortable. Is that important to you? Oh, absolutely. And is this something that you think would bring her better quality of life? Oh, absolutely. So you're getting confirmation that this is important. And then as you're walking, you might say, now I know when we initially talked and you're towards the end of your tour, you had mentioned that you're looking, 6 to 12 months out. As I'm walking with you and showing you our community today and you're interacting with various people, is that timeline really 6 to 12 months, or could it be 1 to 2 months, just depending on if you find the right place that would be something your mother would actually be excited about? what really for you is going to dictate that timeline? So I'm asking open-ended questions. Is it going to be just it's a matter of time, or is it going to be finding the right place, and that's going to dictate it? So you're readdressing some of the concerns you have in your mind. You're giving them options, and you're reaffirming in a very subtle way what you need to know to determine whether to go for a close on the deposit today or not. And the other thing is you want to speak as if it were already done. So when your mom is coming down here, let's say it's on Tuesday, Wednesday for her, her therapy on her hip, one of the things, if she came down, say, in the morning, we actually have a group of residents that go out to lunch every Monday and Wednesday. So we can coordinate with her to where she comes down to therapy, and maybe she does mass before therapy, then she does her therapy, and then she goes out to lunch, and that would give her something to look forward to on the day. She'd be feeling good, being a little less pain, more comfortable. Can you get a feel for what, her weeks might begin to look like here compared to being at home alone, kind of uncomfortable, not getting the therapy she needs, not interacting with the friends at the level she was before the fall? So you're painting a picture, you're speaking if it were already done, and then you're utilizing options throughout the tour. Excuse me. If you have any questions, please email them to me at tbild@tracibild.com. I don't see any that have come in so far. The other thing I want to get to, I have a very aggressive PowerPoint, so I'm probably not going to get to it all. I'm trying. I always have more training than time. But on slide number 21, let others sell you as well. So I'm going to ask you to be very conscious about getting quotes from residents and family members. Say, can I quote you? Like today, I had someone, we have a new book coming out, and I was asking for quotes and testimonials, and we are always gathering new ones every year. People aren't just going to give them to you. You have to ask for them. Or if somebody says something really amazing, say, can I quote you on that? Would you mind? Because it's just so awesome, and it really demonstrates what we do here. You know what? They'll say yes, and then you type it up, and you show it to them and say, is this okay with you? Great, because that's actually easier for people. So you want to start collecting quotes. Letters of recommendations are very, very hard to get. I'm a speaker, I know, but I found anybody will give me a quote in pretty quick turnaround time. A letter of recommendation I'll have to ask 3, 4, 5 times because people are busy. And actually, quotes people will actually read. So get quotes, and then if you get letters, ask if you can share them with prospective residents and their families because they have similar concerns and so on. And then utilize these third-party endorsements to help sell yourself. Use them in your print ads, on your website. Send them as follow-up pieces. If it's a letter, in your follow-up mail or email it. Consumer trust is down dramatically. People are skeptical. They're scared. They don't, they just don't trust anybody. So these third-party endorsements are more critical than ever. So you want to make sure you're collecting these from your residents. And you might just do a campaign where you have a box and you say, we're looking for resident testimonials. We work very hard to make you happy. We'd love to hear what you have to say to share with others considering our community. And put it up for a week and see what people put in there to blow your mind or make you feel good for what you've really done to contribute to their life, and it will help others in their decision, and it weighs heavily. People won't believe what you say, but they'll believe what others say about you. So keep that in mind. It also shows that you're going to deliver on your promises. Now, when you are closing in any situation on the phone, which we talked about last webinar, or when you're in person and you've gone through the entire tour experience and now maybe you're heading back to the model to close, or maybe you start in the model and you end in the private dining room. I mean, this is your experience, so make it as amazing as you can. And maybe in the private dining room your chef puts dessert on the table, so you start with a nice cold drink or hot drink, you end with a nice dessert that maybe you found out is their favorite. Wow, that'd be icing on the cake. And that's in the private dining room, and you say, well, I'd just like to come sit down, and oh my gosh, that's a beautiful dessert, especially if it's a nice presentation. Again, they're going to feel so welcome. And then what I want you to do one last time is first you want to ask if there's any questions. You're going to address all the questions, review your pricing, try to get them to do a pricing worksheet, like to compare their cost of living now compared to when they live there, address those issues. And then what you're going to do in your close is recap on everything that you've kind of taken in. So based on what you've told me, it sounds like, and you're not going to go, this would be a great fit. You're actually going to take your time and recap what you believe to be their concerns, what's important to them, what they're looking for. And as you do that, you're going to go, is this correct? Yes. Am I on the right path? You'll be like, yes, yes, yes. And that's when you know you've got them at hello, okay? And that's when it's time to go for the close. Now, depending on what, where they are, you're going to close on a deposit. So do you have any more questions, or would you like to go ahead and put down a deposit to hold the apartment facing the lake, because I could just tell you really, really like it, and then be quiet? Or do you have any more questions, or should we just go ahead and schedule a return visit for you to bring your mother, and we could do that later this afternoon or tomorrow? What might work better for you? Do you see how I'm moving them physically to the next step? There always must be a next step. If you are not driving this thing, it's going to be in park. Remember that. No, well, let me know when you're ready, or what do you think? You're the expert. So what is next? Is it a deposit? Is it a return appointment? Is it to schedule them for an event so they can further experience the community? And always position it in options. If you're doing an event, you might say, well, would you rather come back for our Friday night cocktail party that's tomorrow night? Or on Saturday, we're having a fundraiser for the American Cancer Society, and we're doing a walk around the property. And of course, your mom can bring a friend. Which might work best for you? Which sounds like more fun? Or you could even do both. So it's not yes or no. It's a choice of two. Close it. Close the appointment out by giving them a choice of what happens next. And then after you agree, confirm what happens next in the process. Our goal is to convert 50% of all tours into deposits and move-ins. For AL, 35% is our real goal. For CCRCs, and 50% for the IL as well. You guys, you can do this. This is a hot lead calling you. You just have to do what's necessary to build the value to exceed the pain of moving now in an uncertain environment and get them excited about the move. I'm going to check for more questions. If you have any more questions, email them to me at tbild@tracibild.com. I want to let you know, if you've registered for our series, our next webinar date is February 4th. Right around the corner, same time, and it's on follow-up, your secret weapon. Again, working to close more tours. We've added a new webinar. This one's really just speaking specifically, and this is on slide number 29, to owner, operators, investors. And this is it possible to hit zero lost revenue days, and what does that mean to you? So this is really not for the sales directors on the call today, but if you're owner, operator, investor, VP of sales, we're bringing lots of really hardcore information about the reality of where we are today and what we need to do going forward. And it's very important to equip yourself with accurate information. And we've launched a new research arm of our company, Bild Research Institute, and we're starting to put all of our data to good use for the industry because we have tons of it. And the data really speaks to we've got some real work to do. And then if you look at slide 30, I've kind of gotten behind on my daily sales vitamin. I've relaunched that. I've sent that off to my assistant to get those up and out again. So if you're not signed up for my daily sales vitamin, it's just dailysalesvitamin.com. Go there on the left side of the screen, register to get these. And what it is about three days a week, you're going to get a 5-minute podcast on follow-up, closing, sometimes just sheer motivation, and it's all designed to help you in your journey to attain zero lost revenue days, and it's free. We also have committed to twittering our best idea of the day out of all of our coaching calls, so you can, on Twitter, you'll see that. And then I'm excited, we are actually launching our next book the end of the month, Zero Lost Revenue Days, so look for information on that. And we have a magazine that's going to be, the first magazine issue comes out the 1st of April, and there's going to be an option in my newsletter that's coming out to you tomorrow to get a free subscription to that. So make sure that you keep an eye out on the different things happening in our newsletter. And for those of you that are asking about our next sales super conference that we do once to twice a year, we have selected the dates that will be in the newsletter. It's September 15th, 16th, and 17th in Tampa. And due to attendee demand, we've added a bonus day, which makes the conference 3 days. The 15th is the bonus day. You don't have to come. You can. It's on referral outreach exclusively. And then we've got the 16th and the 17th, which is our regular day. So that will be in the newsletter. You can also go to my website, tracibild.com. to sign up, and that is limited to 75 people. So those are the other ways you could take advantage of the training. And we'll keep you posted. Let me know ideas and things you'd like to see from me on the podcast, on the webinars. I'm here for you. And we are doing the work we're doing because of you and the research you allow us to do with you and your ideas, your feedback. It's critically important to us. And I thank you for allowing me into your life, to your business. And I hope that today's call has made an impact on you. I want to close with reminding you, have you taken down notes to implement at least 3 key action steps from today's call? Apply the knowledge to see the results in your bottom line. You have what it takes to achieve 0 lost revenue days. It's up to you. What you think you are, you are. You will be what you decide you will be. So it's up to you. You have to determine what your occupancy goal is and then utilize the tools that we're providing you on a regular basis to make it happen. And you will be a transformed person, because it's great to feel successful at what we do and to really know we're making a difference. So thank you, and I hope to see you on my next webinar or somewhere on the road. Have a wonderful day.